everyone. Welcome to Arcade Couch, the best place to chill with friends, get your game goodness each and every Monday. My name's John Blight. Joining me on the couch solely by himself this week, Ashley Hopley.
Hey John, excited to be here and excited to say you should go to explosionator.com/shop, buy some of our merch, proven to help with stopping blue light damage to your skin.
I don't know if I should play into the joke or not, because people might believe it, since people are prone to believe whatever they read on the internet.
I mean, it'll protect you more than not wearing
anything. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
My quick 2 cents on that, right? It's dumb. It's dumb. It's really dumb. But also, like, I don't think you should be attacking. Like, make fun of it because it's dumb and call out dumb things. But also, there's some people that have gone the extra length of, like, fucking kill yourself. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, some of y'all cross the line. There's not a
public mockery is fine. Death threats not.
Well, it just depends if you're like directly. Like, I did like a funny little tweet. It just depends on what your level of making fun of that is. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like maybe don't I don't know her Twitter. At Ray, at Valkyrie. I don't know.
Valkyrie.
Yeah. Maybe don't.
I'd assume so.
Maybe just don't at her and be like, fucking, just something like that. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. It's dumb. There was a really good YouTuber video I watched that on it, actually. I wouldn't be able to find it anyway. All right, let's get into the show.
Just find it on YouTube, listeners.
Find it on YouTube. I wish I could help you. I really do.
Just keep searching until you find a good one.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll get there. It's fine. All right, let's get into reviews. I posted 2 this week, and then there's a early access review thing. So first big one was the Dark Pictures Anthology, House of Ashes. So this is the 3rd game in Dark Pictures Anthology. It's like my least favorite, which I'm on the. I'll quickly chuck. I'll put it out there. Look, when the reviews went live, I woke up the next morning. Like check the Open Critics. This sort of thing. Like, where am I hitting? I'm on the lower end. I'm not quite at the lowest. I'm on the lower end, and there's several reviews where people
people who actually liked it.
There are people going the best of the franchise, and I'm going the worst of the franchise. So I mean, it's putting out there that if you do like these games, and there's a chance that you'll like it. But I mean, look, if you've played one of these, like gameplay wise, if you played one of these before, you know how it works. They're like cinematic movie things. It's basically just quick time events. Sometimes you do get to control it. And another big difference between this one and the past 2 was that you do get to control the characters in a sort of 3D environment. You can move the camera. It's not fixed camera angles anymore. And because you do actually get to move that. So there's little changes. But the story this time is you play as 5 army or like army related. Like one of them's the girl's like a CA operative, and Salim is a Iraqi forces. He's a 1. The rest are American. Either I can't remember. 2 of them are like army, and the other one's like Navy. I don't know. Anyway, they're it's set 2003, invasion of Iraq. They go out. It's like, oh, there's weapons of mass destruction out here. Gotta go get them. Hoorah! There are times one of these characters will. So it's like the most stereotypical. Every time
someone say hoorah.
Several times in this game, a character will be like hoorah. It's like the most like just fucking. I'm like, please just stop. I'm like, they're not really. Look, I don't like these characters in this game. Let me put that straight. I could not vibe with most of them. So they're like, oh, there's weapons of mass destruction out there. Let's fucking go get them. Hoorah. They go out, they get into a fight. Spoilers, there's no weapons of mass destruction there. Maybe there never was, some would say. They continue to look for them. They get into this fight.
I think that's proven.
Yeah, that was my meme. They continue looking around. They get into a firefight. And then the ground like crumbles. And lo and behold, they're actually on top of this ancient tomb. Which is full of monsters, I mean, to put it simply. really talk much about the monsters in my review because I didn't want to like spoil them too much, and I even think like the trailers kind of show a bit too much because I'm like, it's a like you get to a stage in the game where you once you've seen them, the game gets sort of happy to quite just to put them like it's done hiding them once you've seen it the first time. You know, it's like the reveal's over, so we can just show you them now. But I mean, for the first couple hours of the game, it is scuttling in the dark, and you don't know what they look like, you don't know what it is. So you don't want to like if you want to play it and you want to enjoy it, so go about that far. But yeah, so the tombs from the Akkadian Empire. So what is considered, I guess, for what most philosophers or what the people consider the first official like empire or whatever group of people in mankind history. So there is some like history stuff to enjoy here. Not quite enough of it to make me super excited, but if you're into that sort of stuff, there are elements of it. There's certainly stuff to explore and find throughout the like statues and artwork and stuff like that, which is kind of cool. But then the story just gets fucking I just could. This is the thing with these games. Like, and I even feel this way with horror movies. It's like horror movies. If you don't like the characters, the whole idea is to make you scared for them to survive. So if you don't like the characters in a game, horror movie, horror TV show, it ain't gonna work unless the whole purpose of the horror movie, game, TV show is to actually make you dislike them on purpose and then sort of side with watching them get brutally murdered. But that's not what this is trying to do. It's you're supposed to want these people to survive, and most of the time I was like, I don't give a fuck who lives or dies here, which it just doesn't make you want to particularly play the game to a degree. So the rundown of characters is Rachel King is the CIA operative. She's played by Ashley Tisdale, who I think is supposed to be the
famous person.
She's the famous person, although as mean as it sounds, she is a step down from the last couple games in terms of like.
What it was, Sean Ashmore and Will Poulter.
Yes, who I would say Will Poulter's sort of
I don't know.
The most.
Well, he's about to be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's already like known, like he's the more prominent known. And Sean Ashmore has like he's famous. He's not like doing a lot these days, but
no, yeah, he's past his prime.
But he was, but he's recognizable. You know, like you saw his face.
Yeah.
You knew who he was, so yeah. So then you've got her ex-husband, who's played Lieutenant Colonel Eric King, who's played by Alex Gravestein in the game. I fucking hate this good dude with passion. He was just so annoying. What a shit character. Drove me up the wall. And then you've got her current lover, which is Sergeant Nick Kay, played by Mo Judy Lamore. So you got this love triangle thing in this game, of all things. I'm like, why they chose to have a love triangle. Like, she's keeping it a secret, and he still thinks the husband can win her back, and he's like, oh, we've been separated for you, but I've missed you all the time. And then Nick's like, oh, are you going to tell him we're together? It's like, it's a very weird subplot that I just didn't need in this game, and it didn't work for me at all. Then you got First Lieutenant Jason Kolchak, Paul Zino. He's the one who shouts hoorah most of the time. He's really annoying for 3/4 of the game. He kind of comes around towards the end when he kind of shuts the fuck up with that shit and becomes like a normal human being. But for the majority of the game, he was annoying me. And then the best character in the game is Lieutenant Salim Othman, who is like the most just normal person. And he's the normalist. Like when everyone else is arguing about what to do, he's like, maybe we should like work together because we can stop shooting at each other and we can probably shoot at the monsters. Do we want to like shoot at the monsters and survive and like put our differences aside?
Probably a good idea.
Yeah. The one thing everyone was worried about when this game was coming out too, which is worth mentioning, everyone was like, why set it during Iraq 2003? You know, it's like a very particular time period to set anything unless you're going to have like a point to setting it there. I would say the game neither really cares or needed to be set here, in my opinion. Like the most out there it ever goes to touching on it is literally just having the two sides like team up, of course, eventually, and it's like the message seems to be like maybe we should all get along or whatever. But it's just like such a cookie cutter message to have in a game about Iraq in 2003. Like it's just a very weird thing to do. So I personally feel that the game should just not. They could have done the same story, the same monsters, the same setting. Just not have the American military dudes come across it. And why not just have it like a cast of locals happen upon it. You know what I mean? Like, why couldn't just have that be a thing? But maybe. But I know the answer is that they'll be like, Americans won't fucking buy that shit, and that's the proper answer.
That's what. Yeah, I'm sure this is going to be a huge game amongst American soldiers.
Hoorah!
Potentially, love that. Hoorah! Can the title of this week's episode just be a hoorah?
Hoorah! They said something. I don't even know if I'm exaggerating, but every time they said it in the game, I was like, "Fucking please, just stop." Yeah, it really was not a game that vibed with me at all, which is neither as like the characters or the horror elements or whatever else. But you know, I know people that liked it. I've talked to Zach Jackson from WellPlayed. He gave it like an 8, whatever. He really liked it.
Wow.
So there's two ends of this spectrum. Shout outs. Go read his review if you want an opposite opinion, I guess. But yeah, not for me. Let's just move on. Dark Pictures Anthology Devil in Me trailers now online thanks to Horror Speedsters Rights Games Radar. So they haven't, Supermassive Games or Bandai or whoever would be releasing it, they haven't officially released the trailer for the game yet. But as per usual, it was added into the game after it released. So I remember when Little Hope, the last one came out. Even when I did that, the thing wasn't added into the game until so people reviewing it ahead of release didn't get to see it. They only add it after it's officially gone live, and they've done the same thing here. So they've added the trailer that appears at the end of the game that teases the following game, and it's going to be called The Devil in Me. It basically looks like fucking Saw or some shit. It's like some dude basically babbling on about how he loves killing people and trapping them, and there's like a bunch of horror room traps. It looks kind of creepy. And then the other interesting thing about this is it does come up at the end and says that this is the season finale. So, season finale. So, I don't know if that means that they're going to take a break and do something else, or... Yeah. I don't know. Did you watch it at all? Or
no, I didn't, but, you know, obviously horror games are not for me. But, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Obviously, I've read a couple of reviews of this, and, like, obviously one of the more prominent ones here in the Australian community, obviously Charlie's over at Checkpoint, where she pretty much said that
shout-outs.
She gave it a 3, where she pretty much said that it's time for Supermassive to pack it in and like stop doing these type of games. Do you think like they need to take a break from these kind of things? She's right that Until Dawn was kind of like lightning in a bottle. They haven't quite been able to recapture it.
I would agree. It's hard to argue, to be honest.
But then you look at the numbers, and I'm sure they're selling reasonably well.
Yeah, and this one's cheaper as well. I think it's only like $55 or whatever. It's like not a full price game or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, I didn't even think Until Dawn was as good as everyone else. I liked Until Dawn, but I definitely wasn't like, oh my god, this is so good. If I'd reviewed it, I would have been like more to like a, you know, I probably would 7.5, maybe 8 on the higher thing. And a lot of people were up towards that 9.
Some people think it's 10, like one of the key franchises of the PS4. Yeah. Yeah,
I would definitely be like, it's okay to maybe if I was like, and I did really enjoy it, so maybe I would have given it an 8, but in retrospect, I think now I'd be like, maybe it's like a 7.5 or something like that, probably. But Man of Medan, I gave like a 7, I think. I gave that a 7. And then I gave Little Hope a 6. And now I've given House of Ashes a 5.5. So, I mean, we're not on an upward swing. But
yeah, I mean, it's interesting looking at Supermassive's trajectory since Until Dawn. And interesting that obviously around the Until Dawn time, people are saying, oh, Sony needs to buy Supermassive games. And it's like, you look at their track record and it's like, maybe PlayStation made a good choice. Not investing. Or, you know, maybe PlayStation was like a massive factor into why that game was successful. Obviously, they've put a fair amount of funding and input into it. So,
but the funniest thing about that is, and a lot of that could be true, but the funniest thing was, in retrospect, remember that game came out? PlayStation was barely promoting it. There was zero promotion for it. And then after it started getting rave reviews, then PlayStation was like, fuck. Like, here's all the YouTube ads and stuff. Like, hey, so-and-so says it's really good, whatever. But there was no lead up at all. It really seemed like even they weren't sure if it was good or not. Yeah. What was the other thing I was saying? Oh, the other thing that I just think so. If you watch a horror anthology movie or TV series, which is, if you want to compare this to the game equivalent, you watch a horror.
There's so few of them.
Well, there is few of them. It's not popular, but there are a few more these days than there was like 10 years ago. You look at a couple series, like if you look at American Horror Story, right? And that's a whole season. But if you hate the season, like, next year will be different or whatever, I guess. Which is the closest equivalent to these games. There's one a year, and if you hate it, you have to move on. However, most anthology things aren't year long. So other horror anthology series like Shudder has Crypt, whatever that's called. I'm meant to blank out the name of the fucking show.
Well, they've doing the VHS series.
Yeah, they got that going. Well, I mean, yeah, even that as a movie series. It's like if you watch something like VHS, a horror anthology series, movie, and there's a couple of these movies, you watch one of the segments, you go, that was shit. And then it's on to the next one. You don't have to wait a year. So you can watch the entire movie, or you can watch some of these series where every episode is a different thing. And you watch it and you go, this episode was shit, but it doesn't really make me not want to tune in to the next one or next week, because you are waiting at most like a week, and then you're like, oh, maybe next week's will be better. Whereas with these, it's like if it comes around every year, you're like, didn't like Man of Medan. Next year comes around. Didn't like Little Hope. Comes around this one. Every year, you don't get like the quick change of like.
So what, you prefer them to release one entry that's 4 parts? Different.
I would just say, wouldn't it have been more interesting if they tried to do, if any of these releases had 4 shorter horror experiences in them, for example. Instead of doing one 6-hour game, break it up into a bunch of shorter things, an hour and a half, 2-hour things. I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if that works the same in games, but certainly if you wanted to try something, because then you would be like, oh, imagine if all 3 of these had been in one game so far and they had condensed them. So then I would be like, I would probably be a lot more lenient, because even then maybe I would have liked this more because it wasn't stretched out. And maybe, you know what I mean? Like maybe I would have liked Little Hope more because it wasn't stretched out and those characters didn't grow to annoy me as much. Maybe I would have liked Man and Medan more because of the same sorts of things. Or maybe the parts where that game got boring because you were walking down the same fucking boat corridor like several times or whatever, that wouldn't have existed. I would have been like, Man and Medan's the height of this 3 trilogy. This one's this 7.5 or some shit. Different direction. I don't know. Don't know if it works in video games, but
I would say the other thing that they could do for the next second season. Obviously, they had all the famous people in the actual games. I think it'd be interesting if they had the famous people on the creative side. Get a Rob Zombie, get a John Carpenter, get a Guillermo del Toro to come in and pitch an idea or something.
It would definitely be story by or screenplay by, I guess, but none of them would have the time to commit to do a full.
No, yeah.
But you could definitely be like, hey, do you want to write the story? And then we'll turn that into a full game script. You don't have to write every character's piece of dialogue, but like, hey, Rob Zombie, can you write us a story?
An idea.
Yeah. My other review for this week was Echo Generation. So this is a sort of Minecrafty pixel art, whatever you want to call that, voxel art, sorry.
Voxel art,
voxel art game that's set during the 90s, has sort of Stranger Things vibes. I know Stranger Things isn't, of course, people always go like, the fucking Goonies. I'm like, but everyone knows what Stranger Things is, right? We know what the sort of thing is.
I think you mean Super 8. That's the
Super 8,
touchstone that everybody, yeah.
I think I mentioned that in a review, Super 8 as well, by the way. It's a sort of similar thing where you like set out on this adventure. This kid's like, oh, hey, you get to pick from like 8 different characters or whatever, name them. So you can play yourself. Anyway, I picked a redhead and named her Misty. I'm like, cool, I'm playing as Misty. There we go, off to races. So you like come out, you're like, Dad's been missing, might try and find him. Oh, there's a crashed alien spaceship in the cornfield. The fuck's going on here? Better figure it out. There's monsters everywhere. Weird things are happening. Adults, for some reason, of course, and all these things never have any clue what the fuck's going on. And then you team up with your sister, and they're the 2 humans you get to play as, and then throughout the game, you get to unlock other like pets who are sort of your third companion, and that can be a dog who talks to you for some reason, a robot, space bunny, a couple other things. It's a really weird game, obviously. Cool art style, very vibrant, cool art style. The gameplay is basically a combination of Earthbound, and then the battles are sort of like Mario RPG. So you're walking around the town and you'll meet a character and you'll be like, I need like this crowbar to access this area. And you'll meet a character who's like, I will give you the crowbar if you can find me this thing, whatever it is, like this brick or some shit. So then you got to figure out how to get the brick. And then sometimes some other character will give it to you, but you need to trade them. It's like a whole long list of solving puzzles by trading people stuff and like adventuring around and figuring them out and doing whatever you got to do. There's like a main sort of hub area where you live and you walk around and talk to people there. And then once you get the bus pass, you can explore downtown. And then outside, there's a bunch of areas outside town, including like an army government place, cornfield, a bunch of other places. Really, the map doesn't make any sense. Like if you were to draw out this town, you'd be like, what fucking weird town is this with all these weird areas like surrounding it? It doesn't really make sense, but it's cool. The gameplay when you get into battles, so you don't really have randomized battles. There's like 2 areas in the game I think I came across where you could like, walk backwards and forwards and maybe farm up RPG experience if you wanted to, like a typical sort of JRPG. But for the most part, you're sort of just seeing the enemies in the wild. Like you can walk up to them to initiate these battles. And for a lot of them, they're just mini bosses in an area. And once you beat them, they're done. You don't need to fight them again. So a lot of them are just, the game's sort of built nicely where the progression is. You shouldn't really have to farm experience, and you should just be able to, if you're playing it correctly and know what you're doing, you should just be able to nicely go from one area to another. But if you ever get stuck and you're like, I need like a little bit more health, you can like farm up your character, get like another level, add some more HP or something like that. But the gameplay is like you'll have a basic attack, boring. But when you do that, you'll have to like time. So even when you do a basic attack, you'll have to press like X or whatever in time to perform the attack well. And if you don't, it'll only do like half the damage. When the enemy attacks you, it'll come up with a little button prompt, and if you press it in the right time, you'll defend and you'll take like half the damage. And then most of the gameplay and attacks you'll be doing are like these special skill attacks. And each of those has like a different minigame. So one of them is literally, like a bunch of notes come down screen. You go press like left, down, right as they come to the right time. So another one may be the dog does a whirlwind attack. You have to spin the analog stick around really fast to get the dog to do an analog attack. The dog also has one where it'll like dig up dirt in front of the enemy's face and like kick dirt in their face, and that one you just mash X. There's another one where you just do like a samurai strike. You literally, the screen goes like, adds like a 16:9 border for a second, and like wind flows past, like old Ghost of Tsushima shit. You'll have to wait for like the perfect timing or whatever to press X and attack. So they're all just like mini games for the characters to do. But there's like probably each character's got like, all the 2 main characters have like 9 different special attacks I think you can unlock. You either find these through progressing through the game normally, or some of them like sort of hidden around and you find them. They're like cards in the environment or something like, comic books. The comic books in the environment. The comic books give you the attacks. Yeah, it's really good. The one thing that I like if I was to say knock the score down, which I hate saying because it implies it started at 10, but the one sort of negative I had is it is fucking, there's several moments of just obtuse bullshit that really fucked me over. Like I got stuck and I was really annoyed because I was like, I had some other shit I had to do last week, and I had this code for a while, and I was excited to play it. And when I finally got around to it, I'm like, cool, I'm gonna like binge it on my day off, and I'm gonna make sure I hit this, and hit the review embargo. It'll be no problem. I bet you the game's like probably 6 hours or something. And then I spent like over an hour at one point just walking around, being like, I have no fucking clue what I'm trying to be doing or where the hell I'm supposed to be going right now. But the thing I had to do at the time was so fucking weird. So I'm going to say it without spoiling it. But if you get to a section in this game, anyone who's playing this, if you get to a section where you need to distract the woman in the bookstore, and there's 2 parts to this. The first part I'd done. You have to get a book, you have to chuck it over the hole where the train and the store goes around. And I thought that was going to be enough. I thought that would be, should get up and be like, oh no, the train stopped working. Better fix it, and then I could do what I needed to do. But no, you then, slight spoilers if you care, skip ahead, but if you want to know, I'm fucking telling you because this annoyed me. For some reason, You have to go all the way to the school, which you'd already been to early in the game, and I'm like, I have nothing left to do here. This is just a part of the game that's done. You go all the way back there. You have to go all the way into the principal's office where there is a phone. And from this phone, you can call her and pretend to be her boss and be like, hey, what's happening? I heard the train stopped working. I'm coming down to blah, blah, blah. And then you go back to the bookstore. Anyway, so that was it. It was fucking bullshit. And there was another time, and I managed to start. There was another thing after this in another section of the game where I was like, oh, I think I'm stuck again. And I ended up having to wander around again for like probably 45 minutes to an hour, like just doing circles of everywhere, trying to figure out what I'm doing. And eventually I found what I needed to, just like out of sheer perseverance. But I was like, I don't think most people are going to realize that this area is here because it really does not show up well on like as you're walking past it. You just nearly have to be looking for it. I just don't think it was like a doorway, but it's just not designed. I think there's no hint system in the game. There's really nothing to like sort of point in the right direction. So it's like got this old school flavor to it, but I don't really like this old school shit. Like some of this stuff just needs to stay old, you know? Like I'm not saying make games easy. I'm just saying this was dumb.
Fuck these games.
Yeah, I was like, because I still enjoyed the game. Obviously, I gave it a 7. However, it will be easier now that it's also out, and you'll have people who, if you're playing it and you get stuck, you can probably just Google now or watch someone's full playthrough YouTube video or so, you know, something like that, and you'll be able to figure out what you're doing. Because I was quite confused, to be honest. So. And another thing that went up this week, yes, that's Echo Generation. And then another thing that went up this week is Will James posted a Despot's game, Dystopian Army Builder Early Access review, which we'll now call Despot's game from now on. But he said Despot's game has launched in a strong state with a good amount of content to keep you busy fighting your way through the dungeons. It's definitely worth checking out if you're in the mood for tactical auto-battling roguelike. The promise of more content over the coming year, developers Comfort Games aim to keep Despot's game Dystopian Army Builder in early access is an exciting prospect. This is a weird game. It's like a weird cross between genres, but certainly looks intriguing. I think it's like $20-something on early access at the moment, but yeah, it is just entered early access. But it's a roguelike combined with a auto battling thing. I don't know. So it honestly sounds like a bunch of genres you'd probably like, but
maybe.
Sounds like genres you usually play. So check that out. Check out the 2 other reviews that I post as well. Of course, allexplosionetwork.com, and links to all those will be in the doobly. Let's get into it. Let's start with Grand Theft Auto Trilogy. So, Press Start writes, hot off the heels of Grand Theft Auto Trilogy Definitive Edition release date being announced, Rockstar has now dropped screenshots as well as gameplay footage for all 3 games. The visuals are completely redone, but it seems almost cartoony in nature. So before running through the release date, by the way, November 11th. It'll get a physical release almost a month later, but it's coming out digitally. Then the physical release is December 6th. And the game costs $100, 100 buckaroonies here in Australia. So that's a lot of money for a release, some people would say. I don't know. You checked out the trailer? What do you make of the visuals or anything? I know you haven't played any of these, right? But
I've played San Andreas.
Oh, there you go.
So. I mean, it looks better. It kind of looks like you kind of remember it. I mean, it's definitely a step up. So, yeah, I'm sure it's going to make people very happy. And like that kind of stuff. So, yeah. I don't know. I don't have much to say about it. You know, it's.
Would you play it?
Is it going to sell as much as Grand Theft Auto 5? Probably not.
Would you play it? Do you want to play it?
Maybe just to like fill in the gaps. Obviously, I didn't really play 3 or Vice City, so it's kind of a weird name for the trilogy. It's like they were kind of it should be called the Grand Theft Auto 3 trilogy, right?
I mean, I don't know. It's the original. It's not.
But it's not the original.
It's the trilogy that everyone remembers. How about that?
I guess.
It's one way to look at it. No? All right, let's run down a list of improvements or changes. So there's a GTA 5 style layout, improved gunplay and targeting controls, upgraded drive-by controls in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Yeah, that's important.
I can't remember if the drive-bys were fucked, but...
Me neither, but I feel like there was a lot of them.
There was a lot of them, yeah. Updated weapon and radio station selection wheels. Updated mini-maps with enhanced navigation, allowing players to set waypoints to destinations. The ability to immediately restart a failed mission. Oh, Lord. That's a good one. Because some of these games are like, mission failed. Well, how do I restart it? People forget this. I think 3 and maybe Vice City. I don't think San Andreas. Maybe San Andreas had auto restart. I can't remember. But I know definitely 3 was fucked. We had to... So you failed. So you had to drive all the way back to the start of the mission and re-trigger it. Yeah, fuck that shit. Plus new Rockstar Games Social Club accomplishments for members, higher resolution textures from characters to weapons, vehicles to roads, and much more for greater detail. A completely rebuilt lighting system with enhanced shadows, reflections, and more. Improved water and weather effects, enhanced detail in trees and foliage. Increased draw distances to provide a new level of depth and field and definition. 4K resolution support for up to 60 frames per second performance for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. NVIDIA DLSS support for PC, touchscreen, camera zooming, pans, and menu selections as well. Gyro aiming for Nintendo Switch. I think it looks pretty good. Like, people were making fun of the cartoony look of the characters, but these games were, they probably were always designed with this. I mean, they always sort of had this cartoony feel. I mean, I can't remember who, someone on Twitter did tweet like the characters just now look exactly like the box art, or like the same vibe as the box art always gave off with the cartoony sort of look and stuff. So I don't think it looks bad. I think they all look pretty good. And I was saying
it's a style that will last a while.
Yeah, the standout.
If it's like hyper realistic, it's not gonna like.
No, well, cartoony stuff always stands the test of time. That's the thing. But the thing that stood out to me the most is the lighting. Actually looks really fucking good. Like, there's that they show several times. Like they'll have the camera on facing towards a car, and they'll do like the change of old to new. And all of a sudden, you go from this very boring, drab-looking place to a car with like all these flashing neon lights in the background, and the car actually has like reflections, lighting bouncing off it, and all this sort of stuff. Like, it looks pretty good. Like, it looks like it has a lot more effort put into it than I thought it would. And I know last time we talked about it, I was like, maybe I wouldn't mind giving it a go, depending on how big the improvements are. I now definitely want to give it a go. It's entirely built on nostalgia for these games from when I was a kid, but there's enough there that I'm like, I don't know.
What isn't?
Hey?
What isn't at the moment?
Well, that's true. I'm like, I'm never going to have the time. I don't think I'll ever have the time to be like, I've got enough time to commit to replaying all three of these games. I definitely want to dabble though, specifically Vice City and San Andreas, because they were the two I played the most as a kid. Grand Theft Auto 3 was the one I never finished until after I'd already beat Vice City and San Andreas, because I would constantly get stuck and found that game too hard, and I had to come back when it was probably a few years later when I was a bit older that I actually managed to beat that one. I don't have as fond of memories of it because silent protagonist, like the story was just sort of more cookie cutter. Someone breaks out of prison, whatever. I don't think it was until after San Andreas, maybe some of the PSP ones, where they started connecting characters to all these games, where and they connect. I can't remember if it was in Liberty City Stories or something, like one of the PSP ones. They connect like one of the main characters in 3 back to 3, and I remember that's when I went back and finally played 3 through to the finish or whatever. So that was after the PSP games were already out. So I don't have as much love for that one, but San Andreas, of course. Anyone who was a young enough, well, I was around, I guess. Yeah, I was about to say, who was, especially if you were like, I mean, everyone in school played San Andreas. Everyone.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone who owned a PlayStation who I knew didn't play San Andreas, who didn't whisper out the coffee fucking cheat
hot
code,
coffee
hot coffee mod.
Yeah.
Not, you know what I mean? Like, it was all just school talk. So, and yeah, I definitely would like to give them a squeeze. All right. I thought this was just an interesting tidbit. So, Vux posted the first Nintendo Direct took place 10 years ago. And I read this headline and went, that's fucked. That is absolutely fucked. If you can believe it, 10 years ago today, Nintendo held its first ever Nintendo Direct presentation. On October 21st, 2011, Satoru Iwata-san took to the podium to deliver news to Nintendo fans directly for the very first time. The first presentation was in Japanese only, with Regis Fils-Aimé doing one in English the very next day. What started as an experiment has blossomed into an entirely new way of marketing to customers. Before, Nintendo was reliant on trade shows or media outlets to get news, for a publisher to bring information to people directly. Move that has since been adopted by more and more gaming publishers. Nintendo Directs can happen anytime, and now they can be for anything. While at first they were info dumps for everything out in a quarter, now games have their own, and the schedule has become looser. The demand for Nintendo Directs comes from fans. There's so much that people spend hours speculating when the next one will be, even sitting at night waiting at the top of every hour, just in case there is one. How fuck's that? Crazy to think. A year ago. 10 years ago.
Crazy.
I nearly thought it was an April Fool's joke. I was like, there cannot have been 10 years. That's mad. And I do remember reading about the first. Like, I don't think I watched the first one like live or anything. Well, I definitely didn't watch the first one live. But I remember reading the
skimming
headlines.
through this obviously it's Wii U titles. They're
DS
promoting Mario Kart 7. And then a bunch of 3DS titles, including some Kingdom Hearts game.
Dream Dot Distance.
Rune Factory 4. Poke Park. Skyward Sword was coming up.
Man.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Crazy.
And it really is something that has changed.
It just kind of changed everything.
Yeah. Now everyone does them. We've got State of Play coming up.
It's kind of the standard now. Especially, it helps that we've been all trapped indoors for the last 2 years. So, but even before,
they were 8 years before then. So we've been trapped inside for like 2 years. So I had 8 years under the belt.
Turns out people like to find out about the games directly from the actual source.
That's true.
Crazy, instead of having to go scour the internet for discerning rumors on it.
Madness.
They made marketing like important events. So
good job, Nintendo. Definitely.
Yep.
Change the direction of the industry.
Created another way that people could be super fanboy. Yep. Gotta love that.
I love it. Video Games Chronicle writes, a decade later, Ubisoft has finally greenlit a new Splinter Cell, sources claim. Ubisoft, that's according to development sources who told us that the title has been put into production as a means of winning back fans frustrated by recent efforts to revive the franchise in the mobile and VR spaces. It's not clear which studios are working on the project, though two people with knowledge of Ubisoft's plans suggest that new Splinter Cell was being led by a studio outside of traditional Montreal base. The title is in the early phase of production, the sources said, but there's a small chance it could be announced next year. The much requested sequel will arrive at a time when the company is looking to rebuild its image following a wave of discrimination and sexual harassment allegations. Splinter Cell, in case you don't know, by the way, because it hasn't been a game in, I don't know, fucking 10 years.
I don't know if there ever was a Splinter Cell game.
It's true.
I think they're all just a fever dream.
Yeah, it's true. Splinter Cell is a series of stealth games published under the Tom Clancy label. The game stars Sam Fisher, a Black Ops agent working for the government division, the third echelon. Oh, here we go. The most recent Splinter Cell game was 2013's Splinter Cell Blacklist, and 8 years since its release represents the longest period without a new entry in the franchise since its debut in 2002. Ubisoft was already announced a new Splinter Cell project last year, but many fans were left disappointed that the game was announced as a VR-only title created in partnership with Facebook. What do you reckon? Yay or nay? True or not? What are we saying?
I think I'll take Paul James's approach, and I'm not going to believe it till it's actually in our hands, actually on the computer system. And even then, I'm not 100% sure. Like, it could turn out like halfway through the game, it's just a secret Rainbow Six game. You know, and it's just Sam Fisher's an unlockable character.
I know. You don't reckon when we get around to June next year, when your E3 predictions is going to be the lights go out, then three green lights appear in the middle of the screen.
We've made that joke so many times. If they don't do that, I'm going to be pissed. You want to win me back? That's what you do.
It's the only way to announce the game.
I mean, doesn't make you feel good when the reasoning for them actually making a Splinter Cell game is, we want to improve our public image, then we've got a good idea for a Splinter Cell game. You know?
So all the best games are made.
Yeah, to cover up popular scandal. That's how the best creative works come to be, I think.
I think so. History shows. Present day shows.
Yeah. Pretty sure Leonardo da Vinci put out the Mona Lisa because,
He hated women prior to that.
all the slavery. All the slavery.
I don't know how that works. It ties into slavery, but yeah, I mean, I would say I don't think it's too outlandish to say that Ubisoft would like to finally please fans, and I mean, you could even almost say it's in a similar tone to people are constantly spitting on VA. So what do? Like, what do people keep asking for? What was that? Skate? Yeah, let's make another
Scooters.
Skate. Yeah, let's make another Skate game. It's like Ubisoft's years ago, it's like whatever. He's like, fuck, they won't shut up about this bloody sexual like, how dare they not get over this bullshit? This is outrageous. How can we cover this up? Get people not talking about it. What's everyone asking for? Sam Fisher? All right, let's announce one of those.
Yeah.
And you could see it. I guess if they've only just started pre-production, you could definitely see a CGI trailer at E3 next year. There's no reason they couldn't do a CGI trailer.
I mean, I hope they have a CGI trailer, but it turns out to be the VR game, and then everybody gets pissed.
That'd be great.
And then they show another trailer.
After the fact?
Yeah.
What a twist of events. Roller coaster.
Not enough Sam Fisher for you? Let's have some more. Mobile game. And then they show and then they show the proper one.
I'm kind of down for the VR one. I'm hoping that turns out all right. Sounds like could be a good time.
Yeah.
IGN writes, Scalpers are selling sold-out Xbox Series X mini fridge. Series X mini fridge sold out in minutes, and now Scalpers are already selling them online for hundreds of dollars. Microsoft released the first waves of pre-orders this morning, which sold out in under 15 minutes, according to potential buyers on Twitter. The fridge, modeled after this Xbox Series X console, officially retails for $99.99 US dollars, but it's already going for more than double that on eBay. So it's up for fucking $280, $250 to $300 on eBay at the moment, which is fucked. So, bring this story up to say two things. Fuck Scalpers. Haven't said that in a while. But also, fuck Scalpers. And B, I will definitely be trying to get one of these when they go live in Australia. I just want to put that out there because I know some people want to know and keep up to date with, what's Dylan wasting his fucking money on now? What useless gadget? If Kieran was here, see, this is the thing. Kieran's usually the one
this is useful.
Well, I was going to say, I'm disappointed Kieran wasn't here because I knew I was going to bring the story up because I was waiting to see like where this fell on
gaming peripherals. So dumb.
Playdate, dumb. Steam fucking thing, dumb. Mario Kart game, dumb. Fridge, oh boy. He couldn't argue though because the thing is, I was going to get on it. And if he had called the fridge dumb, I would have been like, you can't shit talk Xbox stuff. Can't. You have to be on the side for this one. You really just don't have a choice. So, but I mean, like, what? I'm expecting it to be what? Nearly around $200 Australian, I guess.
Probably.
Gotta be honest, I don't feel like that price is. I feel like that price is okay.
I reckon $250.
Even then, I would say that price is okay for a mini fridge.
I don't know how many is it. How many drinks? 12 cans. It says
12 cans. Yeah, there you go. What do you reckon? 12 cans?
I don't know how many. What the going rate is for mini fridges.
$350.
$350 for a mini fridge.
Well, I don't know. I'm talking about like a bar fridge. I know them prices. Does that count? A bar fridge or a mini fridge?
I guess.
I mean, bar fridge is
mini fridge. Let's see. There's this 90 liter bar fridge, $222.
Yeah. But does it glow green?
No, it doesn't.
Extra $40.
If you go to Bar Fridges Australia, there's a PC Gaming Retro Mini Bar Fridge. It's got Sonic and Pac-Man and somebody else on the top. $387.
Xbox is a bargain.
It is kind of a bargain. Do you know?
So,
it also helps stop robbers.
Does it?
Because it'd be like, oh no, which one's the Xbox?
That's true. That's a good point.
you've got a 50-50 chance of them not stealing your Xbox.
Do you reckon you could put the actual Xbox Series X on top of it? Is there any reason you wouldn't be able to put it on top of the fridge? Does the fridge get cold?
No, I can't imagine there would be any reason.
Isn't it? I don't think there would be, would there?
No.
Top bar fridges are just... It's not like they get super cold or hot or anything. It's just a surface.
Well, they get hot in the back. Not
yeah,
on the
but
top.
not on the top.
Yeah.
There you go. Want to see someone do that? But yeah, I think our Australia's pre-orders are supposed to go up early next year. I will hopefully be trying to get one. If I miss out and you would like to get one for me or Xbox, if you're listening, feel free to slide into my DMs. I do want.
It helps out with like top influencers.
Yeah, we influence the fuck out of shit.
Absolutely.
You don't see me on Twitter influencing people. I'm always influencing people. I'm very influential in Tasmania.
I will say, I think they need. How are they not like implementing some sort of anti-scalper technology?
I don't know how you can these days. I don't know, it's just everyone works out a way around it. It's fucking dumb.
It's like, yeah,
fucking dumb. Drives me up the wall. Hate scalpers. Don't scalp.
I don't know, they should. You know how they're doing the thing with the home quarantines? You have to respond to a text. Mm-hmm. Like every 10 minutes after they send it. They should do the same thing with your fridge in the first 12 months. Text. You don't respond to this text.
Have you still got it?
It blows up.
Have you still got it? Is just Xbox Series X running?
There's like a bomb inside the fridge that just goes off.
They ring you up?
Maybe, no, like a Mission Impossible type.
What's that joke?
Self-destruct.
I got a really good meme. Oh yeah, here we go. Here. Xbox. I forgot. This is so lame. I'm saying it anyway. Xbox. Phil Spencer rings you up. Hello. This is you. Be Phil. No.
Hi.
No. You're the person. I'm Phil. Ready? Hello.
Hi. Who's this?
This is Phil.
This is a random number.
This is Phil Spencer from Xbox. How are you?
I'm a PlayStation fan. Okay, now I'll pretend to be Kieran, and you Spencer.
Ring, ring.
Hello,
how are you?
Who's this?
This is Phil Spencer from Xbox.
Oh my god, Phil Spencer.
Hello, just ringing to confirm you've recently purchased a month ago an Xbox fridge.
I certainly tried.
Is your refrigerator running?
I think so.
Then you better go catch it. Beep, beep, beep.
Fucking Phil Spencer. Got me again.
Why has Karen got such a high-pitched voice? I'm dying.
Boy, Governor.
Yeah, okay. There we
go.
That's better. I couldn't tell it was him before. So.
Yeah,
very good. What the fuck are we talking about? Fridge. Right, I'm buying one. Good job, everyone. I need a drink.
Yep. See, if you had a fridge, you'd be able to pull that can straight over the fridge.
Just imagine, though, we're sitting here recording a podcast, and I'm like, oh boy, I'm thirsty. You know what I mean? Like, fucking let's go.
Get one of those drunk episodes much quicker.
Yeah, just I wouldn't have to leave the room. It'd be great. Oh, I need to go grab a drink. No, I need to go pee. It's fine. I got all these empty bowls. You know, like either way. There's 24-hour streams. Way easier for content creators now. It's good. I'm talking about like this mini fridge has been invented by Xbox, and this opportunity wasn't already a thing that people could do.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about just quickly this shit. Because I got to mention it. It's fucking hilarious. CG Projekt Red on Twitter yesterday, as of recording, said they posted one of their patented little Twitter images. Dear Ol.
They changed the design.
They did. They got sick of people.
Yellow.
They got sick of people making fun of it. Oh, that's because that was a Cyberpunk one. This is a generic CG Projekt Red thing. We have an important update regarding next generation updates at Cyberpunk 2077 and The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt for consoles and PC. Based on recommendations supplied by teams and supervising the development of both games, we decided to postpone their releases until 2022. Our current target for Cyberpunk 2077 is the first quarter of 2022 and the second quarter of 2022 for The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Apologize for the extended wait, but we want to make it right. I cannot believe that we're still waiting for this current gen release, and Cyberpunk released a fucking year ago. Like, it initially released, like, basically nearly a year ago. What date did it come out? Like, October, November? Something like that, surely?
It sounds right.
Surely? Or was it pushed to December? It got pushed so many times I can't even keep up. Anyway, it came out somewhere...
Was it January? No, couldn't have been.
That's a good point.
Definitely came out in 2020.
It definitely came out in 2020. It was, like, right at the end of the year, and everyone was like, oh, it's going to miss out on Game of the Year contention now, and everyone was like... Initial release date, September 17th.
10th of December is actually when it came out.
Oh, Wikipedia's wrong then.
It said initial release date, not when it actually released.
Oh.
Even that's wrong, because I'm pretty sure it was meant to come out in, like, January.
It was. Oh, yeah, 10th of December. Yeah, so that's why everyone was like, oh, it's going to miss out on Game of the Year. Jeff Keighley, fucking delay your show, please. Anyway. Yeah.
Fools.
I cannot believe I cannot believe we're still waiting for this shit. It's fucking so dumb. Anyway, there you go. I'm never playing this game. Are you ever going to go back and play this game?
I don't know. I don't think so. Not until this, maybe. Does it even work on?
Because you kept being like, I'll wait for the PS5. I'll wait for the PS5. I'll wait for the PS5. Guess what? You're going to be waiting a very long fucking time. Not coming out. It's just not coming out. It's ridiculous. Well, that's it. Have you been playing anything? No.
Nothing I can talk about.
Good job. Me neither. Other than stuff I already talked about. So yes, I guess I did talk about something. I was trying to remember because there was something else I've been like dabbling in recently. Did I talk about Tetris last week?
No. What Tetris?
I've been playing on my Switch. Did I make sure to mention that, or did I not mention that? I can't remember.
I don't think so.
Really?
No.
I'll say it again just in case. I've been playing a lot more Tetris.
Tetris or Trios?
Tetris.
Talked about Trios last week. No, you haven't talked about Tetris.
Oh, I've just been playing more Tetris 99.
Oh.
Been playing a lot of Tetris 99 lately.
Taking advantage of that Nintendo subscription. Nintendo Online.
Well, yeah. No. It's free. I don't think you even need it to play online. I think you don't. It's one of those games you don't. Anyway, I already had the subscription. I just pay for it even though I barely ever use it. It's like $30 a year, so just pay for it because I'm a sucker. But I've been playing some more of that because, just playing with the Switch and whatever else. But it looks pretty good, obviously, on the OLED. But it just reminded me how good that game is. And I did that whole thing with it overnight. I was like, I'll play a couple games. And then I ended up staying up way too late in bed when I should have been like asleep because it was a school night. And I was like up until like 1 a.m. fucking just playing, doing the whole like, one more game. Like, I'd get like, top 20 or some shit. Motherfucker. And then be like, one more game. Get like knocked out in 90th or some shit. Like, fuck this shit. Keep going back. That game's like really hard. That game's so much harder now than when it first came out. Everyone is like way too good at Tetris these days. It's fucking bullshit. Anyway, Tetris 99 is still good. I tried out the other mode. They've got like a team mode now. That's also, I never tried when they added that. That's probably like 6 months old news at this point, but I haven't played it recently. So they've got a team mode in that now where you're even like a blue or a red team. You're working together. So that one I've won a couple times because that's easier. You'd have obviously a 50-50 sort of shot to win, but the Battle Royale normal mode, shit's fucking. And I remember I lost the game in like 10 seconds once. I started it and it was like 5 people were targeting me and all of a sudden like a million blocks came out of nowhere. I'm like, what the fuck is even going on with this game? Anyway, Tetris is good shit. Switch OLED, still going well, by the way. Everyone. Good.
So it hasn't blown up yet?
Hasn't blown up on me, personally. I know I've heard some terrible stories of that happening to a lot of people. Thank you for joining us this week on IFAQ. Let us know any comments, questions, or concerns you have about the show by emailing. Well, no, just join our Discord, explosionnetwork.com/Discord. I like reverted to like episode 1 there for some weird. Join our Discord, explosionnetwork.com/Discord. Join our Twitters or follow us on Twitter. It's explosionnetwork.com/Twitter. You can join Twitter before you can follow us on Twitter. Probably do it in that order, yeah. If you thought this episode was worth $1 and you want to make sure Ash can play games in 4K, head to explosionetwork.com/support
nothing to do with it.
to donate to Ash Gets a 4K TV Fund, which he reckons he has nothing to do with.
Are there are there any 4K TVs for like $100?
No, but it's all going towards it. Whatever we get, it's going towards it. What's it going to be? You have to put it aside. You get a 4K TV, you don't really have a question about it. You don't really have a say at this point, to be honest. But until next week, same time, same couch. Bye!
Oh, guys, I'm ready to do the show.
Oh my god.
Oh, Gov, can't you tell I'm British? It's terrible.
Hey, don't forget you can subscribe to the show wherever you're currently listening, and you can drop a review if you can. Find more great shows like this and more content over at explosionnetwork.com, and please consider supporting us for as little as $1 over on our Ko-fi page by heading to explosionnetwork.com/support. Thanks for listening.